Atmosphere is the general mood or feeling surrounding a certain setting or description. When a writer creates an atmosphere, they can draw readers into the world they're imagining. Once readers enter this imagined world, they're likely to stay there. This is because the atmosphere helps them to stay immersed in the story.
Often, atmosphere and setting are introduced early in a text. This is a little like a film beginning by panning over a location before it closes in on the main setting. However, references to setting and atmosphere should always be dropped in throughout the text. If the novel is set in a haunted house, this should be continued throughout. The story shouldn't introduce a haunted house for it then to behave pretty ordinarily throughout from that point onwards.
There are lots of different ways to create atmosphere. One way is to use the climate or weather. A torrential downpour may frame the tragic separation of two former lovers. Mist and crackling lightning may overshadow a spooky graveyard. Setting a scene at night will create a different atmosphere to having it in the daytime. It could be more romantic, tense, exciting, or frightening. These are all ways of shaping how a reader feels about the setting.
Writers can also draw upon a character's thoughts, feelings, or observations to create a sense of atmosphere. If the main character notices the sofa was almost threadbare, there were yellow stains on the curtains, and the air reeked with the stench of smoke, we're already creating an unpleasant atmosphere through their observations. It's also noteworthy that this description draws upon more senses than just sight. The stench of smoke engages the sense of smell and makes the setting more immersive.
Sometimes a particular object or animal is used throughout the narrative to establish an atmosphere. A constantly ticking clock could convey tension in a room. A dog endlessly barking could help to show a noisy, frustrating home life. Pay attention to any objects you feel are helping to establish an atmosphere and what they suggest about the setting.
Objects and animals can also be used symbolically and often reflect the atmosphere of a story. An example can be found in John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. A green pool is used in the setting at the beginning and end of the novel. At the beginning, the atmosphere is pleasant and full of opportunity. By the end, this is a place of death. The change of atmosphere is shown through an animal, the water snake. At the beginning of the novel, the water snake is seen moving about free from danger. At the end, it is being eaten by a heron. This symbolises the action of the main protagonist and builds upon the atmosphere of death.
Whenever you read an atmospheric description, look for these features and refer to them whenever they're relevant. Remember, it's not enough to simply notice the techniques in use.